My dearest subjects, welcome to my court, the court of Gaia. I invited you here because I am sick, and this illness has nearly reached the point of no return. I've called you to be witnesses to my story, a story of unity and sacred relationship, a story of illusion and ego and the lie of separateness, a story of domination and oppression, a story that you are all part of and have the power to change. You can heal me, dear ones, but first, we must know where we all come from, where it all began. Awake, my friends, to our shared story. After the stars gave birth to my elements in dazzling supernova explosions, after my stardust was gathered together by the love of gravity, after I was fashioned in fire and lakes of lava like veins flowed through my being as streams, life slowly began to take root within my mineral soul. The evolution of my myriad forms of life led onward in the ever-receding horizon of beauty.
Let beauty awake in the moon from beautiful dreams, beauty awake from rest. Let beauty awake for beauty's sake. In the hour the birds awake in the break, and the stars are bright in the Let beauty awake in thee from the slumber of day, awake in the crimson eve, in the day's dusk end, when the shades ascend. Let her wake to the kiss of a tender friend, to render again and receive.
When human beings first evolved from the very substance of my body, there was a time of great, sacred, intimate relationship between us and between every single living creature. People lived with the cycles of the seasons, in communion with plants and fellow animals. Wars were infrequent, and although survival was tough and lifespans short, there was no separation between matter and spirit and body, upper and lower, inner and outer. All were a part of the great mystery of my being, and knew that they were created from me, not simply living on top of me. All cultures and tribes had their unique way to communicate and to live in harmony with me. Humanity was at peace with the cycles of life and death, knowing death only as a transition to greater realms of beauty. Reverence and gratitude coursed through the hearts of humankind. Simply put, we were in love.
Wohin ich geh und schaue in Feld und Wald und Tal, vom Liegen verzweigt ins Blaue. Grüß ich dich tausendmal, grüß ich dich tausendmal, grüß ich dich tausendmal, grüß ich dich tausendmal. In meinem Garten find ich viel Blumen, schön und fein, viele Kränze, woraus bind ich, und tausend Gedanken bind ich, und Grüße mit darein, und Grüße mit darein, Grüße mit darein, tausend Grüße mit darein. Dir darf ich keinen reichen, du bist so hoch und schön, sie müssen so bald verbleichen, sie müssen so bald verbleichen, die Liebe ohnegleichen bleibt ewig im Herzen bleibt ewig im Herzen ewig im Herzen stehen, ewig im Herzen stehen, bleibt ewig im Herzen stehen.
As early as 25,000 years ago, matriarchal societies began to emerge. These people regarded the earth herself, creation herself, as the great mother, constantly nourishing them from her divine womb. Woman was revered as a life giver, and the goddess was the ultimate symbol of the interconnected web of all life, the mystery of creation. Darkness was not a symbol of evil, but of this mystery, the fertile ground from which all beings emerge.
Oh, Gaia, I bow down to you. I wake up every morning feeling your breath in the wind, your caress in the soft light of the moon, your strong arms in the rocks and earth beneath my feet, your wildness in all the animals that live beside me, your constant movement and dancing in the rise and fall of the waves, your power to take and give life. Remind me to never take it for granted and to only take from you what is needed and no more. Since you are in every person, animal, and plant, I treat all with respect. Intuition and instinct are my dearest friends who help me to remember where I come from. Since as my body is made from your body, I know it to be sacred.
You know, Homo sapiens has been around for about 300,000 years, since their birth from the motherland of Africa. And this period of harmony with nature lasted a good 290,000 of those years. And for much longer for the indigenous peoples of my many continents. So, let's focus on the positive for now. Dearest man, sing me your love song beneath my peaceful boughs. I never tire of hearing your precious voice. I cannot say there was one moment when man started to turn away from me. It happened almost imperceptibly over many generations. Of course, not all humans were swallowed up by the lie of separation at once. Some managed to hold out until colonialism violently forced them to change. And many still today are fighting to keep the ancient wisdom alive. But this shift at first was so slow that people didn't even realize what was happening. Human beings always had to contend with death. Their own ingenuity as a species led to further and further insights into how to harness the powers of nature for their own benefit. The advent of farming led to a stabler lifestyle without the inconvenience of changing location to find food. Then cities and large kingdoms emerged. But my land and bountiful gifts started to be seen as possessions to hoard. People developed identity based on these kingdoms, and they regarded outsiders as a threat to prosperity. My heart broke as I witnessed the wars between nations who once considered themselves kin.
You speak so flippantly about our struggle. You have no idea how difficult it was to survive in those early years. We were just trying to make life easier, more comfortable, to watch fewer of our children die so we wouldn't go extinct. Other species didn't live to tell the tale. The Neanderthal, Homo floresiensis?
Yet you lived in harmony with one another for quite some time. It was beautiful.
But we survived, and they died off. Maybe they were too weak. We realized that we couldn't rely on Earth to care for us anymore. You had shown us your cruelty. We had to take matters into our own hands. We had to rise above, to outwit the forces of nature. We had no choice.
My dear one, there is always a choice.
Fine then. We made ours, but I refuse to apologize for protecting what was mine.
Fliegt der Schnee mir ins Gesicht, schüttle ich ihn herunter. Wenn mein Herz im Busen spricht, sing ich hin und munter. Höre nicht, was es mir sagt, habe keine Ohren. Fühle nicht, was es mir klagt, Klagen ist für Toren. Löst dich in die Welt hinein, gegen Wind und Wetter. Will kein Gott auf Erden sein, sind wir selber Götter. Löst dich in die Welt hinein, gegen Wind und Wetter. Will kein Gott auf Erden sein, sind wir selber Götter.
And yet, as you continued making your choices, things only got more and more grim. The rise above it mentality turned into dominating anyone who was different from you. The major religions of the past 10,000 years, originally deep expressions of love and goodwill, became twisted into viewing anything and everything as a battle between the supposed good and evil. The central tenets of these myriad faiths, kindness and compassion, were drowned out by doctrines which separated humanity even further. Evil was always somehow projected upon the other. Heaven became separated from earth, nature more and more controlled. Wars reigned supreme, usually brought on by some erroneous sense of righteousness. Enslavement, genocide, state-sanctioned violence. Never before had one species killed more of its own kind than humans. If you had wanted to escape death, well, I'm sorry to say, you ended up creating it, only in a more violent and unnatural form. What hubris!
Ah, woman. Of course you would see war in such a false light. Just like a woman to understand wrongly in her inferior intelligence. You'll never understand the glory of fighting the good fight. The battle against evil is righteous. Some things are just black and white. We protect our daughters from the impure and ourselves from barbarians. I laugh at you and your pathetic weakness. May we forever glorify the holy war.
Beat the drums of tragedy for me. Beat the drums of tragedy and death, and let the choir sing a stormy song to drown out the rattle of my dying breath. Beat the drums of tragedy for me, and let the white violets within its soul, but blow and blaring trumpet out of sun to go with me to the darkness where I go. Beat the drums of tragedy for me. Beat the drums of tragedy and death, and let the choir sing a stormy song to
So here we are. Dominance mentality became reflected in the economy, and with the Industrial Revolution, I was viewed as nothing more than a resource to exploit. The oil spills, the forests decimated, biodiversity slashed, carbon choking my air. You're drowning me in a sea of plastic. Can't you see that I'm dying? Can't you see that this desire for more, to outdo, to outcompete, has led to all this imbalance?
Everyone knows that the economy must keep growing. Our livelihoods depend on it.
Even if it means living in a dead world, your own demise.
We'll find another planet to make our home.
Do you really believe that? If you don't change course, you'll take this imbalance with you everywhere. How did we get to this place of domination? Of the masculine completely overtaking the feminine? Let me remind you of your history. Over time, the Great Mother was replaced by sky gods, who in their mythology killed off the very woman who gave birth to them. Just as one of many examples, the story of Adam and Eve led to millennia of oppression of women. The tree and the snake were longtime symbols of the divine feminine. By casting them down as evil with Eve, you cut yourself off. Matter and spirit became separated. Being holy and sacred meant needing to transcend the earthly. Sexuality was demonized, punished, and highly controlled. Anyone who didn't fit into this gender binary was tossed out as inhuman. Through colonization, this cancer of thought spread all over the world. Women were relegated to inferior status, being associated with the material, with my very body. The same body which gave birth to you and still sustains you now. Don't you see the connection? Please listen to me, my child.
So be it! I wash my hands of your filth. If you're so special, so sacred, then why has the Almighty God, and yes, he is a male god, allowed this to happen the way that it has? Perhaps that you were meant to be crushed. That way that the true kings of the earth could dominate and subdue those unworthy creatures beneath us.
I release you. I release you, my beautiful and terrible fear. I release you. You were my beloved and hated twin, but now I don't know you as myself. I release you with all the pain I would know at the death of my daughters. You are not my blood anymore. I give you back to the white soldiers who burned down my home, beheaded my children, raped and sodomized my brothers and sisters. I give you back to those who stole the food from our plates while we were starving. I release you, fear, because you hold these scenes in front of me, and I was born with eyes that never can close. I release you, fear, so you can no longer keep me naked and frozen in the winter, or smothered under blankets in the summer. I release you. I release you. I release you. I release you. I am not afraid to be angry. I am not afraid to rejoice. I am not afraid to be black. I am not afraid to be white. I am not afraid to be hungry. I am not afraid to be full. I am not afraid to be hated. I am not afraid to be loved, to be loved, to be loved. Fear. You have choked me, but I gave you the leash. You have gutted me, but I gave a knife. You have devoured me, but I laid myself across the fire. You held my mother down and raped her, but I gave you the heated thing. I take myself back. Fear, you are not my shadow any longer. I won't hold you in my hands. You can't live in my eyes. My ears, my voice, my belly, or in my heart, my heart, my heart, my heart. But come here, fear. I am alive, and you are so afraid of dying.
Who are you?
She is Persephone, queen of the underworld, goddess of spring and rebirth.
I am you. I am what you could become, what we all could be.
She reminds me of someone, of some feeling within. It's like an old memory that's always been there, but is hidden and forgotten for years.
What are you willing to let go of? In order to understand, you have to release all this weight, all this blame, all this confusion. It's like you're caught in a wheel and can't stop spinning. Take my hand and leap off.
Come to the orchard in spring. There is light and wine and sweethearts in the pomegranate flowers. Come to the orchard in spring, in spring, in spring, in spring, in spring. If you do not come, these do not matter. If you do come, these do not matter. Come to the orchard in spring, in spring, in spring, in spring, in spring. La 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 la. love to kiss you. I would love to kiss you. The price of kissing is your life. Now my loving is running toward my life, shouting, what a bargain! Let's buy it! The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is rolled and open. Open. Don't go back to sleep. Come to the orchard. In spring, there's light and wine and sweethearts and the pomegranate flowers. Come to the orchard. In spring, in spring, in spring, in spring, in spring, la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
What a complete and utter fool I've been. Look at all the suffering that I've caused. I don't deserve to live anymore after all I've done.
Come now, that's not what I wanted. Listen, it's true that much damage has been done, but there is nothing that we cannot heal. There is always hope. There is always new life, rebalancing, freshness, forgiveness. But first, you must forgive yourself and let go of who you were.
How could I possibly do that?
You can start by reminding yourself of your own goodness. I see so much love in you. Your ambition shows your devotion to a cause. Your protection of family and nation expresses your care for others. Can't you just extend these out a little further? Cast a wider net, so to speak? It all starts with a simple act of kindness.
If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life aching or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. I shall not live in vain. I shall not live in Or help one fainting robin unto his nest again. I shall not live in vain. I shall not live in vain. I shall not live in vain.
I don't want to have lived in vain.
Oh, dearest Gaia, I am sorry for what we've done to you, for what we've done to ourselves. I'm sorry for cutting myself up into pieces, for hating the feminine within me and exploiting those who reminded me of this part of myself, for forgetting how every action done to you is done to us all, and every act done to my fellow humans is done to you. I know now that we need balance in taking and receiving, conscientiousness in our relationship to you, remembering and allowing ourselves to deeply feel your love and beauty.
I've done my best to tell my story. Please, don't forget me when I'm gone.
No, Gaia, it's not too late. If you perish, we all do, please.
What are you willing to let go of? And what are you willing to let in?
I will be earth, you be the flower. You have found my root, you are the rain. I will be bold and you the rower. You rock me, you toss me, you are the sea. I'll be steady earth that's now afloat. The root is the oar afloat where it's blown our boat. We will be desert pure salt the seed. Burn radiance love, born stormy on Burn radiance love, born stormy and I will be earth, you be the flower. You have found my root, you are the rain. I will be bold and you the rower. You rock me and toss me, you rock me and toss me, you rock me and toss me. You are the sea.
You, humankind, are a precious flower in my great garden of life.
But we are not the only ones. Gaia loves and is sustained by all her creatures.
And we all breathe together.
We can enter a new story if we allow for change.
What we imagine, we create.
What seeds will we plant together?
What weeds will we uproot?
How will we water our garden?
Do you feel yourself as apart from me or a part of me?
What if we felt our kinship to every fellow animal and plant?
Not only in our minds, but in our hearts. As if reconnecting with a long-lost friend. What would she say if we dared to listen?
is the time for improvisation. Oh, the strummed chords of nature's creation. To play and sing together with the lightness of a feather. With the lightness of a feather. With the lightness of a feather.
Our calling, our calling, our
If we listen to our shared spirit, if we listen to our shared spirit, if we listen to our shared spirit, her kindness will lead us. Her kindness will lead us. Her kindness will lead us on as we spin through space, 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 as we spin through space,
cosmic song, the